A software engineer with 10 years of experience is now being offered the same base salary as someone with 3, and companies are doing it on purpose. Most people in tech still believe that seniority is a salary multiplier, that every year you stay in the field, your market value compounds. That's been the assumption behind every career ladder, every LinkedIn profile optimized around years of experience, every negotiation where someone leads with, "I have a decade in this industry," but compensation data from 2024 and early 2025 contradicts that assumption in a very specific way. The contradiction isn't what most people expect, and we're going to get into exactly why that is. But first, let's look at what the numbers actually show. FEI's 2024 compensation report, which aggregates self-reported data from verified offers at major tech companies, shows that total compensation at the L5 or equivalent mid-senior level has remained essentially flat since 2022, adjusted for inflation. Meanwhile, L3 and L4 entry to mid-level offers, particularly in competitive markets like AI infrastructure and machine learning engineering, have seen offer packages climb between 12 and 18% over the same period. Companies are paying aggressively to land junior and mid-level talent in high-demand specializations. They are not doing the same for generalist senior engineers. That's the first signal. Here's the second. Blind's anonymous compensation polls, which skew toward mid to large tech companies, show that engineers with 8 to 12 years of experience, who are not in management and have not specialized in AI-adjacent work, are clustering around the same total comp bands they were hitting at year 5 or 6. The raises happened, the promotions happened, the titles changed, but the external market stopped paying a premium for the additional years. Now, before we get into why this is happening structurally, and there is a specific structural reason that most career advice completely ignores, let's add one more data point. In 2022, when Meta executed its large-scale workforce restructuring, internal documents that surfaced publicly showed that the company had recalibrated its internal leveling benchmarks. Engineers who had been operating at one level for 3 or more years without significant scope expansion were being re-evaluated not on tenure but on demonstrated impact relative to the current business need. Some engineers with 10-plus years at the company found themselves in the same compensation band recalibration as people with 4 years. That wasn't a bug in the system. It was the system working exactly as redesigned, and Meta wasn't alone. Microsoft, Google, and Amazon all conducted similar internal reviews between 2022 and 2024. The public framing was always about efficiency. The compensation reality was that seniority as a standalone variable was being systematically devalued. If you want to know whether you're being paid fairly relative to current market data, not 2021 market data, not the number your manager quoted from a 2-year-old survey, subscribe. We break down real salary reports every week, sourced from verified compensation databases and industry filings. Now here's the actual reason this is happening, and it's more specific than AI is replacing people. LinkedIn's 2024 Work Trends report found that teams using AI-assisted coding tools, GitHub Copilot being the most widely deployed, reported completing equivalent output with measurably fewer senior review cycles. The productivity gains were being captured at the junior and mid-level. Senior engineers who had traditionally been the throughput multipliers, the people who unblocked others, reviewed architecture, caught systemic errors, were seeing that function partially automated or redistributed. What this means in compensation terms is precise. The leverage that justified a senior engineer's salary premium was partially the scarcity of their judgment and the bottleneck they resolved. When tooling reduces that bottleneck, the scarcity premium compresses. Companies aren't paying for 10 years of accumulated intuition about how to structure a code base. They're paying for what that intuition produces in 2025, and if a 3-year engineer with strong AI tool fluency produces comparable output, the salary gap narrows by market logic, not by malice. The LinkedIn data also showed something that directly contradicts the conventional wisdom about specialization saving you. Generalist senior engineers, people with broad experience across multiple stacks but no deep current specialization, are the most exposed cohort. Deep specialists in areas where AI tools are still unreliable, security architecture, distributed systems design at scale, regulatory adjacent engineering, are still commanding clear premiums. Everyone else is being price discovered downward. So what does this mean for your actual career decisions right now? First, your title and your years of experience are inputs into a negotiation, not outputs. The market is pricing deliverables and current skill scarcity, not biography. If you haven't updated your core technical profile in 18 months, your market rate has likely drifted below your current salary, which sounds fine until you're in a layoff or a company-wide compensation reset. Second, the engineers who are still seeing year-over-year comp growth in the 2024 and 2025 data are disproportionately the ones who can demonstrate AI-augmented output, not just familiarity with tools, but measurable productivity gains they can speak to specifically. Third, if you're at year 7, 8, or 9 and your comp has flatlined, the market is not broken. It has recalibrated around a different definition of what experience is worth. The engineers who understand that recalibration and position accordingly are the ones whose salaries still move. The ones who are waiting for the market to return to 2021 logic are already behind.